Okay, now shall I begin then? So we read chapter 3, first verse. Again he entered the synagogue. So Jesus enters the synagogue again. What is he teaching us? Perseverance in prayer. Pavam Jesus, what had happened to him when he got baptized? Then he was led into the desert. 40 days he fasted. After that, John the Baptist was arrested. So minute he started praying, my God, so many things started happening. John the Baptist was arrested. Then he called Simon and Andrew and John and James. Then people were after his life. Why you're eating with tax collectors? Who are you to say you can forgive sins? But Jesus continued. That did not stop him from going to the synagogue. So even when we pray, no, sometimes people may murmur. And why wait for others? Our neighbors will not do that. Our family members will do that. They may murmur, Arey, how much time you're spending in prayer? Nathaniel, you are distracting us. So you just be in one place now. So others, they will grumble because you are praying, because you are going to church. They may also say, Arey, how much you pray? And especially your own spouse may say that. Huh? How much time you are spending in prayer? No difference in your life, but you are not changing only. Or we tell our spouse that. Sometimes we don't say it, but in our heart we feel that. He is spending 1 hour every day in prayer. No difference in his life. What I married into, I'm with the same man. He's become worse now. Jenny was laughing. So, don't judge. One is don't judge those who are praying because God in His time will change that person. You cannot change yourself, but you want to change the other one. So don't judge. And encourage your spouse or your children. Some children will say, "Ha, my mama, no, every Friday she attends this service, whatever." But after soon as Sister Christine logs out, no, she'll scold us. She'll shout at us. So don't judge anybody, but encourage those who are praying. So many years, my husband goes to the chapel every day, but there is no difference in his life. Let Jesus handle him. You only go to Jesus. Persevere in prayer. Jesus went to the went to the synagogue on the Sabbath. You continue going. Where we have to go? Which synagogue? The temple within us, where Jesus dwells, no? So we don't have to wait for Sunday to go to church. Every day we can enter the synagogue. And there was, and a man was there who had a withered hand. See, even Simon and Andrew, they were fishing and Jesus came there. Jesus is always passing by us in our life. Always passing by us. Whether I seek him or no, he will continue passing by us till I give him my attention. And always it is a divine plan. Huh? Nothing happens to us by chance. So if somebody has come into our life, it is not by chance. It is always a divine plan. Always a purpose of God. For the what? To make us grow more and more into the image and likeness of His Son. So every person in your life, someone whom you like, someone whom you don't like, someone whom you agree with, someone whom you disagree with, but they all are in your life to fulfill God's purpose in your life. So thank God for those who even irritate you to the core. Now this man had a withered hand. I was just reading what a withered hand is, no? It's something that is shrunk or wrinkled. Like for example, this is this is the size of my hand, of my heart, okay? This is the size of my heart. It has shrunk and it has become only this much now. So all what is around here, emptiness, no? Correct? Because it's supposed to be this size, but now it has become this size. So there is emptiness. So we all have this emptiness in us. We've also shrunk our hearts. How have we done that? Some hurt experiences, where some memories, some wounds because of our pride. Unforgiveness generally comes from pride. When we have too much pride, now we can't forgive. So if you have unforgiveness towards anybody, it is because of pride. We have our heart is shrunk because of some events in our life. No, somebody happened in the something happened in the family or to our loved ones, or something has not happened which we wanted that to happen. We shrink our hearts. So we also have, we had a withered hand, we have withered hearts, so we can go to Him. Go to Jesus, wait for Jesus to heal. And if Jesus could restore His hand, He can restore our hearts, where we'll be able to love again. Suppose something happened years ago with my spouse or anybody else. I'm saying spouse because that's the closest relationship. With your spouse, something must have happened. You're not able to let go of that memory, that incident. You remember that again and again. So the next time your spouse comes to you, you are not able to love. Your heart is shrunk. You may live the marriage, but that is formality. So tell God to choose to heal this. No, He can. Now they watched Him to see whether He would cure him on the Sabbath. Who they? Who are these? They, the Pharisees. No. So the Pharisees, they also went to the synagogue. Why do you go to the church? To pray or to observe others? See, that one who came for the reading, no, she was wearing such a short skirt. See, this person, he doesn't know how to behave in public. Why do we go to church? The preacher is like this. This sermon is so long, it makes no sense only. Why we go to the synagogue? To observe others or to spend time with God? Even the Pharisees, they were watching Jesus so closely. They said, if Jesus has entered the synagogue, He will heal this man. Let's see if He heals him, because they believed that He could heal him. Are you and I actually see spouses, no, together, or even in the family? You come to know what the other person, because of the familiarity, you will say, okay, I am, I know if this happens, my spouse is going to behave this way, react this way. How familiar are you and I with Jesus? Pharisees would say, though they were not his followers, not his disciples, they followed him to catch him, but they were not his disciples. But they could guess कि हाँ Jesus can may heal them. How closely are you and I observing Jesus? And if we are, for what are we observing him? And he said to the man who had the withered hand, come forward. Now Jesus knows what is in the hearts. No, we read in the second chapter that Jesus knew what they were murmuring, what was going in their hearts. Jesus knew that. Jesus knew what was going in the hearts of the Pharisees. He knew what was going in the heart of that withered man. The man with the withered hand. He knew that. Did that stop him from doing good? He didn't want to be a people's pleaser, no? Arey no, again the Pharisees will get upset with me if I heal this man. They will not accept me. I want to be accepted by him. So today, so what? All these years his hand was withered, he lived, no? One more day, let him wait. What is there? I will give him my visiting card. Tell him come and meet me tomorrow. Today's Sabbath, no, I don't want to upset these people. Simply they'll get upset with me. So what others thought of Jesus, that didn't matter. And they knew that Jesus knew that they were waiting to accuse him. But this did not stop him from doing the Father's will. This did not stop him from doing good. This did not stop him from caring and loving this man who had a withered hand. He did not need the acceptance of the Pharisees. He was not a people's pleaser, no? He was there to do the will of the Father. So what about us? We can ask ourselves, if we want to do something good, are we too conscious about the people around us? And then say, no, I will not. What others will think of me? So let us do what is the Father's will, not what is others' will. Father's will. Now he tells this man, come forward. First of all, Pavan, this man, no? Withered hand. He must have already been, he may have been embarrassed, no? Because he was not normal. And now Jesus is saying, come forward. So now for all to see. He may also have worn a long sleeve robe, no? To cover his withered hand. Now Jesus is telling him, come forward. So he may have gone through this embarrassment, this humiliation. Come forward also, one thing is, one meaning can be, come out of your old habits, no? Come out, come forward. So you make that choice of coming out. Come out of your comfort zone. Come out of your sinful ways. And another meaning is, acknowledge in front of all that you have a withered hand. Humble yourself. Accept that I have a withered hand. Sometimes our weaknesses are known to others, people around us, no? Our spouse, our children, our friends, our colleagues. They come to know our weaknesses. All those who come in contact with us, they come to know our weaknesses. Jesus is called us, come forward. It is a humiliation. but then we'll be rewarded for this humiliation. So, what is my attitude that time? I'll tell Jesus, Jesus, not today. I'll go and whisper in Jesus' ear, Jesus, not today. Tomorrow morning, I'll come to your house, you heal me that time. Today, all are looking at me. Then he said to them, is it lawful to do good or to do harm on the Sabbath, to save life or to kill? Were the Pharisees doing any harm to this man? Were they throwing stones at him? Were they accusing him? Were they murmuring against him? Were they doing anything to this man? They weren't. But they were not doing the good that they should have done. So our sins of omission, no, we go for confession. But very rarely we confess our sins of omission, the good that we could do and we failed to do. One is the wrong that we do, one is the good that we haven't done. Sins of omission. But they were silent. There will be times in our life that Jesus will silence us. You can't do anything, you can't go anywhere, you're like pushed to the wall. But this is holy disturbance. If the Pharisees at that time, when they were silenced by Jesus, if they would have turned their hearts to the Lord, they would have also been following Jesus and been a part of all the miracles and followed him to the cross as his disciples. But what they did, their silence was not holy silence. They were silent because they didn't have an answer. So when sometimes in your life, when you are in a situation where you don't know what to do, go to Jesus. Turn your heart to him. When Jesus shows you that what you're doing is not right, you could do something better, turn your heart. Otherwise, we'll remain like those Pharisees. He looked around at them with anger, and he was grieved at their hardness of heart. Now many say, even Jesus got angry, even I can get angry. It is not wrong to be angry. But Jesus' anger was justified. Our anger can never be justified, okay? Because we all are sinners. Jesus was sinless. His anger is justified. He was not angry at them because they did not appreciate him. And what was grieving his heart? That they were not his followers. I uploaded my photo on Facebook. That person saw but did not click on like. So I will be angry. We gathered at my sister's house, and that person, I cooked this, I made this dish and I went, but they didn't appreciate me. So I am angry. Next time I will not cook anything and take. Jesus was not angry because of any of such reasons. And his heart was grieving. Why? Because they missed the point. They were following the law. They were living by law but not by love. They missed the point. They were only proclaiming that God is. They were not proclaiming that God is merciful. They were not believing this God who is their Father. And they thought they could earn salvation, no, by their just ways. But salvation comes to us free, not by our just ways. He then tells the man, no, stretch out your hand. So now this poor man, first he's got a withered hand. He must have worn a robe, no, with long sleeves, and he must have come to the synagogue. And at that time, any sickness, they thought it was the evil spirit. So this fellow is going to already, like, people are looking at him. My God, I think he's got some evil spirit in him. Jesus told him, come forward. Now to add to it, Jesus is saying, now stretch out your hand. All the more for people to see. So those who have not noticed will also notice now. So more humiliation for him. But he did that. He stretched out his hand. He underwent this humiliation. No? And again, I say, what was the reward? His hand was restored. He stretched it out. He obeyed Jesus. He stretched it out and his hand was restored. What happened? He stretched out his hand. He waited for half an hour. Then his parents came to help him. I will also hold your hand. You must be tired, no? I'll give you little support. Why don't you rest your hand here? Again, after 5 minutes, you stretch out your hand again. No drama. He stretched out his hand and he was healed. So when there is complete obedience, there is complete healing also. Prompt, though his obedience was prompt, the healing was prompt. When I deal with anger, no, I know I have to pray. I will wait tomorrow. Today I'm very tired. Tomorrow I'll spend, no, I will spend tomorrow half an hour in prayer. Today I'm very tired. When tomorrow comes, Hare Baba, today I'm more tired than yesterday. So then I will wait for Sabbath. Sabbath came and went. Whole week I worked so hard. Now today I was so tired, I only slept. You know, I need this rest. I really need this rest. You don't know how stressful my work is. So there 1 week went. But I wait. I don't pray. My obedience is not prompt, nor will my healing be. Restoration will also take time. Restoration of my withered hand, my shriveled heart. That will take time. Why? Because I am delaying. The Pharisees went out and immediately consoled with the Herodians against him, how to destroy him. Verse 6. See, this is very common in our life. Huh? Enemy's enemy is my friend. Suppose you all have many siblings, no? You all are, say, maybe 5 or 6, 8 siblings, maybe. Something happens with one brother, you go and talk to another one immediately. You know, he said that. We are also no better than the Pharisees, probably worse. We also conspire how to destroy the other person, no? How? With gossip. In offices also it happens. Office, big place to gossip. Lot of opportunities you will get there. To choose life or to choose death. Choose life always. Don't gossip. Even in office. Somebody is doing something wrong, you tell the Lord. Turn to the Lord, not to your colleague. अरे उसने देखना आज क्या किया. And you turn to the Lord, let him do what he wants to. Then I become good in the eyes of my boss. Go and tell the boss, Arey, my colleague did this. He messed it up, but I saved the situation. Enemy's enemy becomes my friend. So we can ask ourselves what we are doing, how we are doing things. And Jesus will show us where we need to change. Then verse 7 we read that Jesus departed with his disciples to the lake. Why did he do that? What was his purpose? Anyone?
Totally with his disciple.
What was his purpose? Anyone? In departing with his
Uh,
disciple?
he knew
Huh?
the intentions of the crowd who was following him.
What was the intention of the crowd?
They just wanted to touch him and get healed, but he wanted to give them more things than that. This he wanted to give
So
them.
he so because the crowds were coming and he knew that they only wanted his healing, so he departed with his disciples. Correct or wrong?
Yeah, probably because they
Probably.
were not coming to listen to him.
Who was not coming to listen to him?
The crowd,
The crowd.
and
So,
he
but
wanted
he
to
is going
pray.
away from them, no?
He wanted to pray also.
He wanted to pray. See, last Sabbath we saw, no? He was in the cornfield with his friends, and even when they were hungry, they didn't choose to go home. They wanted to be with Jesus, and he wanted to be with them. So they started plucking corns. Correct?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Ha. So even now, when he departs from his disciples, he is not bothered about anybody else. He is not tired healing people. He is not forcing himself on others. No, he wanted to be. There is a longing in Jesus to be with you and me. There is a longing in him. So he is always departing. Anyone comes, he wants to spend time with you and me alone. So he's inviting you to this solitude, that withdraw from everyone. Stop that TV for half an hour and you pray with me. Put it off. Sleep 15 minutes less, but you spend that 15 minutes with me. He's withdrawing you. He's inviting you. Come, I want to spend time with you. You are so obsessed with your child. Leave the child to the Lord. You are first a Christian, a soul. You belong to Jesus, then to your child. Spend this time. Leave the child. And when you do that, you will teach your child also that prayer is important. Spending time with Jesus is important. We don't go through life just like that. Our days are not just like that past. No. It is with Jesus. Every day we spend with Jesus. Your child will learn through your example. Let the father teach the child. Let the mother teach, each one blaming the other. Who is the accuser?
Devil.
Who is the accuser? Tell me. Stella, unmute yourself. Vanessa, tell me.
Devil is the
Ah, Who's accusing the spouse now? He is not teaching the child anything. Only I have to do this. He doesn't take any responsibility. You don't worry about anything. You spend time with Jesus. You do what you have to do. Where are we now? Saiba. So Jesus departed with his disciples to the lake, and a great multitude from Galilee followed him. And Vanessa is right when she's saying, no, Jesus, it is not about, don't seek what Jesus can give me, not his gifts. See, then we say, we don't want any material, I want spiritual gifts, no? I want peace and I want joy and I want this gift of tongues and I want vision and I want something else. I don't seek for all of this, only seek Jesus. I'm not asking for any financial blessing. I am to telling him, you please make me very holy. I want to see the saints. See, that person told me, no, she had a vision of a saint. I also want to see. I am not asking for anything of the world, no. I am asking for holy vision. Don't seek for anything except Jesus, not what he can give you. Now a great multitude from Galilee followed him, hearing all that he was doing. They came to him in great numbers. Even we have heard, you and I have heard all what Jesus has done. Not all, but we have heard a lot of things that Jesus has done 2000 years ago. And even now, today, we know that he's done a lot of things and he continues doing things for people, miracles in people's lives. Is it true or false? Have you heard? Stella, tell me. Have you heard of what Jesus has done for others also? Have you heard? No, you've not heard anything? Saiba, she doesn't know whether to say yes or no.
It's obviously it is yes, isn't it?
It is yes. You've heard, no, Raja? Those people, they walked miles, huh? There was no transport. Today, if you want to spend time with Jesus, you only have to close your eyes and recollect yourself. What are you doing? Are you going to Jesus? You heard, no? Many miracles you've heard of, you've read of. Not only Raja, I'm questioning all, me included. How much we hear Jesus has done mighty things. All these people, no, simple people, they left everything and they followed. They were seeking him. Though they wanted a healing, but they were going to Jesus. We don't go to Jesus. We first go to the doctor. See, I'm not saying don't go to the doctor, but go to the doctor, but also turn to Jesus. Anything happens to me, I will speak to my mother. My heart is paining, I'll call my mother and pour my heart out. But I don't go to Jesus. Last option. These Pavan people, how many hours they traveled and they had to walk and carry also, because there were no shops like that. Carry food. Now we have hotels. Hungry, go to one hotel and order for something. The Pavan people, they had to carry food also within the dabba they used to carry with them. All that we did. You and I, we are so blessed. In the comfort of our house, no, we can pray. But we don't go to Jesus. We have other things that are more important. See, even I was reflecting how with all this lockdown and all, I feel very happy. Of course, I miss Mass and I miss receiving the sacraments. But even in all that, see the blessing. Today, the Eucharist, if I have to go for Eucharistic adoration, I had to go to church or go to the Blessed Sacrament Chapel, right? Today, it is right here. 24/7, I have this live adoration going on. How much do I go? So easy it has become on my phone. Okay, this is live adoration, but Jesus is dwelling in me, no? 24/7. So even when I get up in the middle of the night, what is my thought? Arey, I forgot to do this. I forgot to pay this bill. Or my thought will be, ah, Jesus, you woke me up, no? You put me back to sleep now. What is my thought even when I get up middle of the night, no? Ask yourselves, catch yourselves. If you'll get up, what is the thought that you have? Then Jesus tells his disciples, no, they have a boat ready for him because to have a boat ready for him because of the crowd. He is communicating with his disciples all the time, no? When he was in the synagogue, he must have told, after healing this man with a withered hand, he must have told, come, let's go. So they all went, they departed to the lake. Then he's telling them, okay, come now, get a boat ready. We will need a boat. Get a boat ready. He's communicating all the time what they must do. That was not only 2000 years ago. Now also Jesus is communicating with us. Stella, after this, no, you do this. Are you waiting? Are you listening? I don't listen to Jesus, I hear every other voice. So get into the habit of listening to this voice because he is communicating. Are you listening to him? In small things, he will tell you what to do, what he wants you to do. And our glory is not in doing big things in life. No? Our glory is in doing what God wants us to do, in doing his will. Our glory is not going to the Taliban and saying, oh, I'm a Christian, come and kill me if you have guts. No. Our glory is to live that Christian life where God has placed you. Love him where he has placed you. In loving others around you. So are we listening to him? Are we following his instructions? Or I give him more instructions than the instructions that he gives me. I tell him, okay, now tomorrow you have to do this for me. I need this and I need that to be done. That has to be finished. But I don't wait for the instructions that he is giving me. No time only for me. I don't have time only for that. Because I only am so busy giving him instructions that I have no time to hear what he is telling me. And Jesus cured many. See, here it is said, all who had diseases pressed upon him to touch him. This is verse 10. All of us, we have diseases, no? Something or the other. Some weakness or the other. Because none of us are immaculate. Stella, your daughter's name is Immaculate, no? Okay. But okay, that is her name, but we are not immaculate, no? None of us are born without sin. We all have some weakness or the other. I too have. I am not a living saint, but you know what we feel? I, by mistake, I am in the house. My place is in the church near the altar. My spouse doesn't realize that, but actually, that is my place. That is where I deserve to be. All of us have weakness. All of us have struggles. We don't have to struggle like these crowds, no? Jumping thousand people one on the other because they wanted to touch Jesus. For us, so easy. 2000 years now, so easy to receive Jesus' healing touch. Where you are, Jesus will come there. So, are you turning to Jesus? In our living rooms, He'll come. Now, right now, where you and I are sitting. So, are you turning to Jesus for that healing touch? Are you longing to know if I touch Him? No? Do you have that faith? If I touch the hem of His robe, my soul will be healed. If we don't have faith, no problem. Turn to Jesus. Tell Him, I don't have that faith. You give me that faith. I don't have that longing for you. You give me that longing for you. Whenever the unclean spirits saw him, they fell down before him and shouted, You are the Son of God. Whenever they saw him, they fell down. And he sternly ordered them to keep quiet, not to tell any, not to make him known. That was 2000 years ago. Now he will sternly tell us to make him known everywhere, to the end of all ages, to the ends of the world. How? Stella, how will you let others know, people around you, that Jesus is active, Jesus is alive? How will you let people know?
By being like Jesus.
Ah, yes, correct. So Jesus tells us to love one another, forgive one another. He tells us live by love, not by law. So evil spirits obeyed him, but we don't obey him. So now who's worse? Bolo. Even the evil spirits obeyed him. We don't obey him. He says, forgive. Are I forgave. No, yesterday only I forgave him. Today again he's acting difficult. 70 times 7 you have to forgive him. Always you have to forgive your spouse. Always you have to forget. This person is always cheating me. Of course, you have to be prudent in dealing with this person. But you have to also forgive him, the one who cheated you. So today we ask Jesus. Last week I had given a homework, no? What was that? Huh? Wait, someone, come on. What was the homework I gave last week? Charlotte, you've forgotten? Max is laughing. Max was not there. I don't know if he heard later, if he saw the video. But Charlotte, you were there. Tell me what was the homework that I gave.
How we are longing for Jesus.
So what you did? Nothing. We had to see, no, how we are longing for Jesus. So this week we have not grown, but we now, last week we did not grow. This week we will make little effort. Go to the synagogue. Jesus will come. You don't say anything, you want healing, but he will come and he will heal you. So he will give you little longing. Ask him to give you that longing. for him, not for any other thing, not for anyone else. I am so obsessed with my husband and children, I can't think of Jesus only. Or my spouse, huh? Not that husbands are very, what to say. Is Dinakar there or is he hiding somewhere? He's sitting there? Okay. See, when we cook food, no, at home, wife will eat what she can eat, husband will eat what he can eat. But when it comes to prayer, no, my spouse is praying, no, why I have to pray? So she is eating food, why you have to eat? Don't eat. You two are one. So a personal relationship with God. Personal relationship with God. So we ask God for this personal relationship, that we'll grow in this relationship, that we will long for Him more than what we longed for Him last week, and that we'll go to Him with our shriveled hearts, no? That He will make it whole. We will have more capacity to love. That emptiness will go away because it will be filled with His love. So this week we'll do that. Huh? Ask God to fill our hearts with His love. Okay, Maxim? ठीक है? Okay. Now please can you say